Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time mo nag-watch ani nga video. So this is welcome to our class. This is Computational Physics 2, and this is all about introductory on numerical methods in physics, because I believe this uh, numerical methods in physics very important because not all problems in physics are solvable using mathematical equations or closed form na nagay sa exact solution. But once you go to higher physics, you are dealing with problems that uh, that are already in the close to real. Let's say solving a lot of you're solving problems in physics na mga let's say kato mga interesting na mga parts, mga realistic na mga phenomena. It actually requires sophisticated mathematical equation or solutions where in fact nga ihang solutions na mismo na niya is not anymore solvable using closed form and di nakakakuha og exact solution. But what we can do is we can do an approximation and do a numerical analysis out of it and then analyze the problem. So that's where computers will come into the picture. It's like it's like physicists' best friend, computers, because they are able to solve or to calculate any equations or mga calculations nga dapat i-calculate nga pas-pas kay siya. Whereas humans, di kita maayo ana. But of course, the humans will give instructions on computers on what to do, and then the computers will just do the calculations efficiently and very, very fast. And for our case, in this course, we'll be using MATLAB as our programming language. So MATLAB is an interactive system for doing numerical computation because it has a graphical user interface or GUI nga kay mga buttons nga i-click tapos muna siya ihatag na result or na siya i-plot ba. So nindot siya nga application, it's like a software. MATLAB was developed by Cleve Moller. He wrote the first version of MATLAB in 1970s, and ever since it has evolved into a successful commercial software package that we are using today. So mine is I'm using R220 nga version, R2020A, and the latest version is actually 2020B, so di kahit layo. But those older versions for lower versions can actually use gihapon because most of the functions kay compatible man gihapon, magamit ra gihapon siya. Like you can actually use as far as 2016 nga mga versions sa MATLAB, I don't know if like 2017, 2018, 2019 nga mga versions pwede. And MATLAB relieves you a lot of mundane tasks associated with solving problems numerically because MATLAB contains a lot of built-in functions and library that you can use. Let's say mga doing integrations, doing derivative, and so on. Daghan pa kay mga functions nga mga built-in nga mga functions and libraries nga ready to use na sa MATLAB instead of you nga buhatan pa siya og program from scratch. Okay? And because of that, it allows you to spend more time into thinking sa problem mismo and encourages you to experiment and explore. And MATLAB makes use of highly respected algorithms and hence you can be confident about your results. And as I said again, powerful operations can be performed using just one or two commands. Kasi kung magamit kag C, na functions nga imong gamiton tapos i-create nimo siya og code, it would comprise hundreds of codes, siguro lines of codes. But in MATLAB, gibuhat naman siya na siya built-in nga function ana. It's just one line of code lang. Then, solve na rin siya. You can also build up your own set of functions for a particular application. And MATLAB also is able to provide and produce with a beautiful graphs out from your own data. Let's say na may data from your experiments sa general physics, na experiment mo og free fall, experiment pa mo ron o projectile motion, i-plot ninyo ang iyang trajectory with respect to time or position, or naamoy system kibali nga you have ice and water or ice and coffee maybe, tapos you want to calculate or you want to observe the the temperature of the whole system as it approaches thermal equilibrium. So makakuha mo data ana, and that data can be used to plot it in MATLAB and see the result visually. So you have the basic operators sa MATLAB. You have the plus, minus, asterisk, divide, and so on. So if we open MATLAB, so mano inyong makita sa MATLAB. So this is the window. This is the command window. This is the workspace. So na-divide din siya into tulo. Right? Actually, upat. So kani siya nga portion is ang iha mga widgets. This is the command window, the workspace, and the directory kung asa nimo i-save ang imong files later on. We'll discuss that later po. Kaya na lang para makita. Okay, if we try that, so sa MATLAB na sa command window na siya kanang duha ka ingon ana dito. So diha na magsugod og type. So naanay nag-blink diha nga kuan nimo sa imong cursor. So you have 2, 4. So it gives us 16. So sa inyo nga case, if ang inyong result ani is nabit spacing kanang lagyo siya. So you can actually do format compact. If you hit enter, mo na siya ang inyong result. It's like this one. Wala na spacing in between ba. Okay? So mas need siya tanawon, but it's actually my own preference na siya. But if ganahan mo nga na spacing, you can also use that format. Okay? So you can actually do this to ako na i-copy. So you have 2 plus 3 divide 4 times 5. If I hit enter, ang answer is 5.75. So yun sa MATLAB pag-calculate. Unsa giuna niya? Times ba, divide, plus, and so on. So unsa giuna? So naa siya ruling ana. Either kani ba or kani ang gibuhat niya. So ang ruling niya is actually this. So this is the ruling. Anything na quantities in brackets, unahon niya. Okay? So if after sa brackets, if naa kay exponentiation, unahon po na niya. For example, 2 plus 3 exponents 2. So unahon niya pag-calculate ang 3 exponent 2. That gives you 9. And I have pa niya i-add. And if I have multiplication, so una ang multiplication and division kaysa sa addition and subtraction. So if you have multiplication and division, kasi mas una, depende kung kisay naa sa left or sa right. So it's working from left to right gina siya. Ang iyahang operation, ang priorities. Sa plus and minus, unahon niya ang nasa left and sa right. At din sa right lang yan. Okay? MATLAB also recognizes these integers, these types of numbers. We have the integers. Oops. We have okay. We have integer, the real, complex, infinite, and none. Okay, integer kani siya, we have real number including the decimal. Complex katong may mga I imaginary numbers. Infinite if you have any number divided by 0, that gives you infinite. And MATLAB also recognizes that dili siya number, say not a number if 0 over 0. And also naapoy i nga notation. So sa computer calculator naa man sana, di ba? Kani e to the e plus 03, that means exponent siya. So that would mean 1.3412 times 10 to the power of 3 and so on. So scientific notation here. So So all computations in MATLAB are done in double precision, which means 15 siya ka-significant figures. So natin kasi klase nga format sa MATLAB. You can type format short. So malimitahan siya into 4 decimal places lang. If you have format short E, diha na pod taman ang imong sayop ni siya. Dapat nani siya, dapat plus E01. Okay? And then format long up to 15 gid siya na digit. Tapos format bank duha lang ang ihang i-retain. Okay? So if we try this one, okay, let's try that. 3 minus 2 exponent 4. So I get negative 13. Okay? And if I do that, answer, so ang answer is, gigamit na ko ang previous na result, which is, ang sulod sa answer is negative 13 times 5. So I should be able to get negative 13 times 5. So that's negative 65. So kana. So the result was stored in answer, in ans by MATLAB, and is used in the second calculation. That's what we did. And then the value of answer of ans is changed from negative 13, 65 na siya, nawala na tong negative 13, pulihan na siya. So we can use also our own names to store numbers. So if we type x equals 3 minus 2 to the 4, that's negative 13, and then y equals x times 5, that's negative 65. Okay, so instead na store siya sa ans nga variable, we made our own variable x and y. So you can actually make your own variable names for as long as valid siya. So what are valid names? Example of valid names, dapat mag-start siya letter. Dili siya mag-start of number. Similar siya sa C nga rule bitaw pag name of variable. Then ang mga invalid, mga dili allowed nga mga names kay kana siya na siya dash tapos nasugod og number, nasugod siya og special character. Dili pwede mo gamit og as percent sign. Percent sign sa MATLAB is na siya meaning. So maupod sa ano, diba, sa C, percent sign. Ang percent sign sa MATLAB is a comment. Then we have at sign, di po siya pwede. And also use names that reflects the actual value that they represent. Example, if na-calculate mo og something value nga ang result niya is let's say ang result niya is let's say speed or velocity, so ibutan niyo speed or velocity, dili kay mag variable name mo og x, y, 2, 3. So kung wala siya meaning, mas complicated siya, tapos pasabot din ninyo ana is gravity na di ay or velocity or speed. And also avoid using these special names sa MATLAB. This stands for epsilon, pi, and then iteration I and j. And if you want to use I and j, pwede lang mo mag-inana. Duha ka I, duha ka j. Okay, one often does not want to see the result. Kasi nag-type na diri, automatic mahatag ang result nga y equals negative 65. But if you don't want nga magawas ang result ba, pero naarigya pa ng result. We can do that by this, what do you call this? Semicolon. So if we do that, x equals negative 13, semicolon. So take note nga, several nga mga statements na pwede na siya mausa sa isang line, separated by semicolon or comma. Y equals 5 times x, comma, I have z equals x squared plus y. Then if I hit enter, so I get y equals negative 65 and z equals 104. What happens to x? Of course, na-suppress siya kay because I I put semicolon after sa statement. So if I want to see the results of x, I just type x and hit enter, then x is negative 30. Okay. So the value of x is hidden, and also several statements in one line separated by commas or semicolon. Ano right. Also, the functions already known to MATLAB. We have that, excuse me, we have sine, cosine, and tangent. And these are the arguments sa kaning sine, cosine, tangent are all in radians. So for example, if you have this, so I just type CLC for clear command. So wala na siya. Okay. And start na ko fresh. You have x equals 5 times cosine pi over 6. Y equals 5 times sine pi over 6. So I get this result. And if you want to work in degrees, so instead ng cos, pwede siya kaning cos d or sin d, you have cos t. So in degrees na siya ang result ana. Also in MATLAB, we can also work with arc cosine and arc sine. So katong sine inverse, arc cosine, arc sine. So kuha ni mo siya. So kung sa mabuhat mo sa calculator, definitely mabuhat mo sa MATLAB. And it's actually more than that. Okay, mga nindot mga heavy calculations and massive numerical calculations pwede siya mabuhat sa MATLAB. And also other elementary functions you can do. Excuse me. You have square root. You have exponential. Excuse me. Okay. Example. Excuse me. Okay. So, you have x equals 9, tapos gi-feed mo siya sa square root of x. So, ext, that's exponent. So, e to the x. So, e to the 9. Tapos, logarithm base e, then logarithm of base 10. So, in MATLAB also, one yung naka-advantage sa MATLAB because we can handle matrices very easily. The row vector and the column vector. Sa C pa na siya, medyo lisod and complicated na pag-handle sa matrix, di ba? Although, kay mo na mo sa pag-handle sa matrix, sa column and sa row vector because in C programming, we've actually done that already. Kung nag-solve mo sa Vigenère, Caesar ng mga problem, those are examples or problems on how to handle properly vectors, right? Row and column. So, since na-solve na to ninyo, so, makuha na gini ninyo. So, there are two types of vectors. You have the row vector and the column vector. The row vector is kana siya. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ang column vector is ana siya sa vertical. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ana. So let's consider first the row vector. They are list of numbers separated by either commas or spaces. And can also know the length of the row vector depending on pila ang ihang number of elements that would determine unsa ang length. And the entries must be enclosed in square brackets. Let's take for example this one. So let's type v equals okay, as you can see here, we've created a row vector v, tulo ka elements, and then each element is separated by space or comma. So naatay comma dira or space. And if we type length v, of course we can get a result of 3. Okay, tulo man ang ihang elements. We can also create a vector by using the shortcut colon 1 colon 4 that gives you an element of 1 up to 4 with an increment of 1. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So upat ang imong element ana. So if I have 1 colon 4, I will na ako'y 1, 2, 3, 4 nga element sa vector, a row vector. Also, similarly, we have 3, 7. So I have increment na siya of 1. How about this one? 1 colon negative 1. Pwede ba na? So, try daw. Nauna kung pwede ba. And then, as a check purpose, pwede nyo i-pause ang video tapos you can think of it. And then, we'll come back kung ano siya ang result. So, 1 colon negative 1. Or you can type this one sa inyong on MATLAB or sa cellphone. Pwede man katong MATLAB mobile. So, di siya pwede. Kaya di maka pwede ka advance nga moabot, di ka pwede mo advance from 1 nga moabot og negative 1 pabali. Right? 1, 2, 3, di maka pwede maabot og negative 1. So, di siya pwede. Empty. Or more generally, ang imong pag-create sa vector is this. A colon B colon C. A is starting point, B is increment, C is endpoint. Okay? Say, example niya, say kani, starting nimo is 0.32, tapos ang imuhang increment is 0.1, endpoint is 0.6. So, kana. So, let's try this sa MATLAB. So, we have 0.32 colon 0.1 colon 0.6. So, wala siya. Take note, tama na siya 0.52 kaya hindi na siya mulapas o kung increment pa ka 0.1 sa 0.52, that becomes 0.62. And then ang end mo is 0.6 man. So, tama na siya sa 0.52. So, let's try to type this. Kaning R5. R5 equals not 6. Negative 1 colon negative 2. So, I have this element row vector R5. So, we have 1, 3, 5, negative 1, negative 3, negative 5, and negative 7. So, if I have R5 open parenthesis 3, 6, so sama na siya. We have R5. Actually, ang makuha na ko ani is I want to extract or I want to determine the third element of the vector R5 from the third element up to the sixth element with an increment of 1. So I want to know unsay naa sa sulod sa R5 sa element 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? So if I hit enter, I get 5, negative 1, negative 3, right? Negative 5. Mo na siya ang third element up to ika-6 na element. Right? So this is the third element up to the sixth element. Okay? How about this? We have R5 1 colon 2 colon 7. So I get 1, 5, negative, negative 7. So starting sa element 1, increment of 2 up to the 7th element, I get 1, 5, negative 3, negative 7. So what does R5, 6, negative 2, negative 1, 6, negative 2, 1 give? So if I type that one, 6, negative 2. So, ako na i-enter. So, muna result, right? You try to imagine kung gano'n ka na magawas. Right? So, 6, negative 2, 1. So, ang 6 mo, instead na mo decrement siya from the 6th element down to 4, down to 2. Okay? So, 6, 4, 2. That's why ang result niya is negative 5, negative 1, and then 3. Then we have a column vector. So, similar siya sa row, but this time is separated by semicolon or new lines. So, take a look at this. So, C equals 1 colon 3 colon square root of 5. So, column vector, vertical lines, yeah. But also we can do this. Have C2 equals, iset na semicolon, shift enter. Okay? So, bracket, tapos 3. Then, sa inyong keyboard, shift enter. And then type 4. Shift enter. And then type 5. And then bracket. So, nakaka-create gihapon ko og column vector. So, depende sa inyo kung saan nyo pag-create ang column vector. Two ways mo na siya. You can use the colon operator or the shift enter. But for me, personally, masayon sa ko ang magbuhat og column vector using the colon operator. Depende gihapon, preference man na siya. Pag usahay, nag-solve ko og na-try to analyze a data on COVID data. Akong gibuhat is masayon sa ko ang mag shift enter. So depende sa situation, shift enter ka or mag colon. Then if you do this, may tabuan na is C3, i-store na ko sa C3 nga variable 2 times C minus 3 times C2. So our result niya is of course the same number of elements, 3, a column vector. Okay. So I hope kaya ba mo sa pag-operate sa mga vectors, di ba? So we have C3 equals 2 times, so ang vector C is 1, 3 square root of 5 minus 3 times, you have 3, 4, 5. Right? So mahitabuan na, that's 2 times 1, that's 2, minus 3 times 3, that's 9. So 2 times 3, that's 6. 3 times 4, that's 12. Tapos, kana siya, 2 times square root of 5 minus 3 times 5, that's 15. So, muna siya ang pamaagi. And ang result niya is mo na ni. We have negative 7, negative 6, tama, and negative 10.5279. So, column vectors may be added or subtracted provided that they are of the same length. So, we have 1, 2, plus 2, 3, pwede na siya. Right? That would give you 3 and 5. Dili ka pwede mag-add o column vector nga ingon ani, lahi ang iyahang length ba 3, 4, 5. Di na siya pwede. It's like nag-add kag Carabao o apples. So dili pwede. Apple tanan imo i-add. Carabao puros Carabao. Okay. We can also do transpose sa MATLAB. And that is done by one transpose is imo i-convert ang row into column or ang column i-convert hindi mo siya into row. So we have C and C prime. Say, sa itong C, that's C. Himuon na po siyang row, that would mean C prime. Okay, so nahimo siyang row. Okay. Pwede po complex. Okay, himuon mo siyang a complex conjugate. I hope kaagi na mo og complex analysis gamay. Okay, that's X, right? That's a row vector. So this is the first element, this is the second element. Kung i-transpose na ko na siya into, let's say, x prime, so mahimo na siyang column, right? Mahimo siyang 1 plus 3i, ang isa is 2 minus 2i. Actually, mahimo pa, anak pa gina siya. Complex conjugate man na siya. So mahimo ni siyang 1 minus 3i, ang plus ay mong minus, tapos ang minus mahimong plus. Na. So if you do that here, sa MATLAB, you have x prime. So I just, muna ko nakuha, right? And also, if you want to obtain the complex number lang, the plain transpose lang ginawa complex number nga dili ma-change ang plus or minus, instead na x prime, mo siyang x dot prime. Okay? Next is we can also do inner product sa duha ka vectors. There are two types na maka take ang inner product sa vectors. First is the usual inner product. This is physics. Inner product. If you have u dot v, right? May tabuan na is mahimo na siyang u dot v, mahimo siyang u1 v1 plus u2 v2 plus u3 v3, di ba? Or sa physics mo man na siya, di ba? We have a vector times v vector. Kasi ang a nimo is ax I hat plus bx up sa a y j hat, kasi x and y na siya, times, I hope ka-recall mo sa yung general physics, bx I hat plus by j hat. So, ano siya ang vector? This is row and this is row, this is column. So, pag multiply ana is you have ax bx plus ay by, right? So, similarly, if you have this one, u and v, in general, summation siya. Let's say, di lang kayo duha ka element, could be many element. So, this would be u1 v1 plus u2 v2 and so on. un vn. Okay, that's inner product. So, for example, if you have this, so ang hitabo ni sa u times v, so ang multiply nimo ang kada element, 10 times 20, negative 11 times negative 21, and then 12 times negative 22. It gives you 167. Okay, if you do that sa MATLAB, you have u equals 10, negative 11, 12, then v equals 20, semicolon, kay vector man siya, column vector, negative 21, semicolon, negative 22. Okay, if I multiply u times v, I should get 167. Okay, so that's it. So pag operate niya is mo ni. So we already did that sa MATLAB. Another is the element-wise product. So this is different sa katong pag dot product kanina, inner product sa physics man to siya. Ano siya is mathematics, Hadamard. Very simple lang siya kay if you have this type of multiplication, instead na asterisk lang, naa siya dot asterisk. Meaning we want to multiply each element. Tapos di na to siya kailangan i-add. Okay, so we have u dot v, so gimultiply na to ang kada element, u1 v1. So instead na i-add, kama lang siya. Imo siya i-separate kada element ba. u2 v2, u3 v3 and so on. And the result is the same length, of course, and same type sa u and v. So sa element wise, mag-multiply ka puros row, row times row or column times column, dili pwede nga ilahi sila og orientation. So thus, we simply multiply the corresponding elements of two vectors. So for example, if we want to get u times w, so ano siya? 10 times 2, negative 11 times 1, and then 12 times 3. Okay? So tana. So it will give you negative, so it will give you 20, negative 11, and 36. So ito siya i-kuhaan sa MATLAB. Oh. So u is 10, negative 11, and then w is, so the same sila orientation na, puro sila row vector. So we have u times w, dot asterisk w. So I get 20, negative 11, negative 36. So you can also do this sa MATLAB. So try lang na. So gibutang gi-appeal sa module about mga practice problems. You can solve it, practice dito. And if you want nga i-confirm ang inyong answer, you can email me sa inyong solutions dayon. And then this one is this is reserved for your problem set. Okay. Another is the element division. So this is similar sa element nga multiplication. Division lang siya. So the same siya process sa katong kaganina. Element by element siya. So if I have this one and this one, so pwede ka maka-divide element by element. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. A equals 1 colon 5. So that's my row A. My row vector A. Then my row vector B is this. 6 colon 10. Dapat pareha silang element. Number of elements. So they have 5 elements each. So pwede ta maka-perform ani sa element-wise division. So you have A dot. Pasabot ana is element A. So sa element A, ang 1 i-divide sa 6, ang 2 i-divide sa 7, ang 3 i-divide sa 8, ang 4 sa 9, 5 sa 10. So that would give me this. Okay? So if you do that for MATLAB, so sa may tabo. So imo ra siya i-format na ano siya, right? Ang rational niya, 1 over 6, 2 over 7, 3 over 8, 4 over 9, 5 over 10. Okay? So, ato lang kuan. Balik. Okay. The next is, similar na gihapon na siya, element-wise. So, each element kay erase to the power of something. Okay? So, for example, if you have this, so that's square. So, kada element is square siya. So, you have 10 square, 11 square, 12 square. So, ang result sa imong vector, ibutan mo sa MATLAB, you can actually try that. You have 100, 121, 144. Okay? So, the same mo na siya, ani. Right? Can also do that. So on. So, i-try na siya. Explore na siya sa MATLAB. Okay, so I'll just cut this video tapos continuation lang siya sa next nga video. Okay, so see you sa next video.